Friends, the New START treaty signed between the US and Russia has expired. This treaty was signed in 2010 and came into force in 2011. Its duration was 10 years. In 2021, it was extended for another 5 years. And now in 2026, it has expired. After the Cold War, this was the last major nuclear weapons control treaty. It prevented the world's two largest nuclear powers, Russia and the US, from endlessly expanding their nuclear weapons. Under this treaty, both countries were allowed to deploy a maximum of 1550 nuclear warheads. A clear limit had been fixed. Along with this, the US and Russia were allowed to inspect each other's nuclear sites. This ensured that neither of the two nuclear states was secretly building weapons. Now, the end of this treaty means that the US and Russia can deploy as many nuclear weapons as they want. There is no legal ceiling anymore. There is no obligation of any kind. There will be no inspections, so there will be no transparency. This means that the world has reached a very dangerous situation at this moment. The United Nations has said that this treaty has expired at a very wrong time. The risk of the use of nuclear weapons is the highest it has been in decades. The Ukraine war is ongoing. Relations between the US and Russia are strained. Tensions are rising in the Middle East. So even a small miscalculation can lead to nuclear destruction. Russian President Vladimir Putin had offered a 1-year voluntary extension. At the same time, Russia says that it will continue to behave as a responsible nuclear power. However, with the end of the New START treaty, Russia is no longer legally bound. On the other hand, the stance of the US President Donald Trump is non-serious. He has said that if the treaty ends, so be it, and that a better agreement can be made. His demand is that a new treaty should be signed that includes China along with Russia and the US. China has rejected this demand. China says it has just around 600 nuclear warheads, which is far fewer than those of the US and Russia. Russia has the largest number of nuclear warheads in the world, around 5,449. The US is in the second place with around 5,277 nuclear warheads. Because of this imbalance, China does not want to be part of a treaty on equal terms with the US and Russia. This is where a deadlock emerges. From the way things appear, the path for the beginning of a new nuclear arms race has opened. Gradually, other countries may also look for excuses to increase their nuclear power. This will increase global instability. Countries will start spending more on weapons instead of development. Nuclear proliferation will increase. There is no legal limit left on the world's two largest nuclear powers. This means the world is now standing without nuclear rules. Even a small mistake can push the situation out of control. Therefore, the end of the New START treaty is not just an issue between the US and Russia. It is a question for the entire world. Many analysts are warning that humanity is close to the most dangerous moment in its history. This is because the framework of trust has collapsed. Transparency and predictability have disappeared. Because now a security dilemma will emerge. When there is no obligation to limit nuclear weapons, one country will increase its arsenal for its own security. The other country will interpret this as preparation for an attack. As a result, the second country will also start expanding its weapons. In this way, an arms race will begin. Keeping their national security in mind, non-nuclear countries will also not stay behind. A nuclear domino effect will begin. It would not be wrong to say that with the expiration of the New START treaty, the protective shield of rules and agreements has collapsed. At a time when small conflicts and proxy wars are being seen across the world, even a slight misjudgment can push a small war in a nuclear direction. Because there are no rules, trust is steadily eroding, dialogue has weakened, so the risks are far higher than before. The world's two largest nuclear powers are now standing without any legal restraint. There is no obligation to maintain limited numbers of missiles and bombers. There is no pressure for annual on-site inspections. There is no requirement for data sharing or transparency. And this is happening at a time when new defense technologies are being rapidly developed. Hypersonic weapons already exist, so the risk of an unconstrained nuclear competition has increased. However, one silver lining is that the United States and Russia have decided to restart high-level military-to-military dialogue. This dialogue had been suspended since 2021. For the first time in 4 years, this channel is going to reopen. This decision was taken after the trilateral talks between the US, Russia and Ukraine held in Abu Dhabi. It is good as direct talks between military generals can help prevent misunderstandings. They can also stop accidents or clashes caused by wrong decisions. When two enemy countries do not communicate, the chances of a war by mistake increase. So it is a positive sign that military contact between Russia and the US is being restored. Both countries want to ensure that there is no accidental escalation. That is why military communication is being restarted. This channel will increase transparency. It will also support efforts for peace. The US and Russia together possess more than 90% of the world's nuclear weapons. If limits are not set between them, the arms race can intensify. Misunderstandings can increase the risk of a nuclear war. The New START treaty was like a global nuclear safety lock. So if strategic uncertainty in the world is to be reduced, a new arms control treaty must be negotiated at the earliest. A clear nuclear limit will have to be set soon.